There is a massive biological mystery sitting on the breakfast tables of Tokyo that the Western medical establishment has almost entirely ignored for decades. While the rest of the developed world watches obesity rates climb toward 40%, one modern nation has remained a stunning outlier. In Japan, the obesity rate sits at a staggering 4.3%. But here is the part that should fascinate you. They aren't obsessed with high-intensity interval training, and they aren't living on restrictive keto diets. In fact, the average Japanese person consumes significantly more white rice, a simple carbohydrate, than the average American. If the traditional calories in versus calories out model was the whole story, Japan should be facing a metabolic crisis. Instead, they have the longest life expectancy on Earth and some of the lowest rates of type 2 diabetes in the industrialized world.
Hi, I'm Lina. After years of looking into the mechanics of metabolic health, I realized we've been asking the wrong questions about weight loss. It's not just about the volume of food we consume, it's about a specific biological software update the Japanese give their bodies every single morning. Today, I'm going to walk you through the peer-reviewed science behind a specific fermented superfood that acts like a kill switch for visceral fat. We'll explore how a specific tea preparation can boost your metabolic furnace by 43%, and I'll give you a simple framework to automate your weight management without ever counting a single calorie again. To understand why you might be struggling with stubborn weight that refuses to budge, we have to look at your internal factory floor. Your gut microbiome is essentially a massive workforce of trillions of bacteria. In a lean, healthy body, these workers are highly efficient. They break down fiber, produce vital nutrients, and most importantly, they send signals to your brain that regulate your appetite and insulin sensitivity. However, the modern Western diet has essentially fired the skilled workers. Years of processed sugars, artificial emulsifiers, and low-fiber foods have replaced them with a specific family of bacteria called Firmicutes. Think of Firmicutes as the hoarders of the bacterial world. They are incredibly efficient at extracting every single calorie from your food and signaling your body to store it as visceral fat. Visceral fat is the dangerous hidden fat that wraps around your heart, liver, and kidneys. It isn't just a storage depot for extra energy. It is an active endocrine organ that pumps out inflammatory chemicals called cytokines. This is why you can feel tired, inflamed, and hungry even after eating a large meal. Your body is stuck in a cycle of inflammation and storage. The Japanese secret is actually a daily restocking of the right workers to break this cycle. The cornerstone of this metabolic advantage is a food called natto. These are soybeans fermented with a specific bacterium called Bacillus subtilis. Now, I'll be honest, most people in the West won't touch it because of its pungent smell and sticky, stringy texture, but the science is undeniable. A landmark study published in the Journal of Molecular Nutrition and Food Research found that natto intake significantly reduced visceral fat accumulation in a dose-dependent manner. This means it doesn't just burn fat, it actually suppresses the liver's ability to create new fat cells in the first place. When you eat natto, you are flooding your gut with what we call lean bacteria, which tips the ratio of your microbiome back in favor of burning fuel rather than hoarding it. But the Japanese approach doesn't stop at the gut. They also target a very specific type of tissue called brown adipose tissue, or brown fat. Unlike white fat, which stores energy and creates that padding we try to lose, brown fat functions like a built-in space heater. Its only job is to burn energy to generate heat through a process called thermogenesis. As we age in the West, our brown fat usually goes dormant because we live in temperature-controlled environments and eat diets that don't trigger it. This is where matcha green tea comes in. In Japan, matcha is consumed as a fine powder, meaning you ingest the entire leaf. This delivers up to 137 times more of a compound called EGCG compared to a standard cup of steeped tea. EGCG acts as a molecular match that relights your brown fat furnace. Research from the University of Geneva demonstrated that the specific combination of EGCG and the naturally occurring caffeine in matcha increased 24-hour energy expenditure significantly. Crucially, the researchers tested caffeine alone at the same dose, and it had zero effect on the metabolic rate. It is the EGCG working in synergy with the plant's natural compounds that keeps the fat-burning switch flipped on. The third pillar of this system is the use of marine fibers, specifically seaweeds like wakame and kombu. These sea vegetables contain a rare compound called Fucoxanthin. In clinical trials, Fucoxanthin has been shown to upregulate a specific protein called UCP1. This is the uncoupling protein that tells your white fat cells to behave more like brown fat cells. You are essentially training your fat to burn itself. When you combine this with the soluble fiber found in traditional Japanese root vegetables and barley, you create a gel-like substance in the digestive tract that slows down glucose absorption. This keeps your insulin levels flat, preventing the insulin spikes that tell your body to lock away fat and refuse to let it go. Now, you don't have to move to Tokyo to see these results. You can implement the Ichiju-Sansai framework right where you are. Translated, it means one soup, three sides. This isn't a diet, it's a structural blueprint for a meal. By having one bowl of miso soup, one serving of protein like fish or natto, and two small vegetable sides, you naturally create a plate that is high in fiber and moderate in protein without ever needing a food scale or a calorie counting app. However, I see people make three massive mistakes when they try to adopt these habits. First is the heat destruction error. I see people boiling their matcha or their miso soup. Both of these are living enzymatic foods. If you drop miso paste into a rolling boil, you kill the probiotics instantly. If you use boiling water for matcha, you denature the EGCG and turn the tea bitter. The rule is simple. Use water that is roughly 175 degrees Fahrenheit, and always add your miso after you've taken the pot off the heat. The second mistake is the dairy trap. Many people try to make matcha lattes using cow's milk. While it tastes great, the casein proteins in dairy bind to the catechins in the tea, reducing their absorption by up to 80%. If you want the metabolic boost, drink it plain or use a plant-based milk that doesn't interfere with those antioxidants. The third mistake is relying on supplements. People often buy nattokinase capsules instead of eating natto, or green tea extract pills instead of drinking the tea. When you do this, you lose the prebiotic matrix, the fiber and the secondary compounds that allow the main ingredients to actually work in your gut. Your body is designed to recognize whole food complexes, not isolated chemicals. If you start incorporating these foods, 50 grams of natto, a bowl of unpasteurized miso, and a cup of properly prepared matcha, your body will begin to change at a cellular level. But I want to give you a warning. Don't look at the scale every day. Visceral fat loss is different from general weight loss. Because you are reducing inflammation and improving muscle signaling, your waist circumference might shrink by 2 inches before the scale moves 5 pounds. Measure your health by how your clothes fit and how your energy feels in the afternoon. We have been told for decades that weight gain is a failure of willpower or a sign of laziness. I am here to tell you as a researcher that for most people, it is a failure of internal chemistry. When your gut bacteria are signaling for hunger and your brown fat is dormant, no amount of white-knuckling a diet will work long-term. The Japanese aren't lean because they have more willpower. They are lean because their cultural food habits provide the correct chemical signals to their cells every single morning. You can start sending those same signals tomorrow. Find a local Asian market. Look for unpasteurized miso and frozen natto. The bacteria reactivate perfectly once thawed, and start with just one meal. Your metabolism isn't broken, it's just waiting for the right instructions. If this science-backed approach to metabolic health resonated with you, please hit that like button. It tells the algorithm that we need more evidence-based information in a world full of fad diets. I'm Lina, and I'll see you in the next video as we continue to decode the body's built-in systems for health and longevity.